Hello, welcome back. We're taking a look at Alibaba, which is trending again today for the wrong reasons, I suppose. It's been down about 20% actually in the last, a few days. If we take a look at the 1 month chart, you will see that it was 120 back in July 7. That's like a week ago. And so it's been down quite a lot since then. It has been actually 125 at some point at the high of the day, that day. And right now it's getting back to almost 100, and you may be wondering why. And it's actually kind of tough to know why this is happening because there are not really any legitimate reasons. It's mostly about some news that are almost non issues, but they have actually prompted the stock to go downwards, and it keeps going down. Probably for not much of a reason, but this is again what happens when we're in between a rock and a hard place, I should say. Basically, market sentiment that is generally speaking negative for China and companies like Alibaba. It's irrelevant for the long-term investor, of course, but since it can cause some pain to some holders who are actually, getting a little bit antsy and anxious about these kinds of moves, I will explain what is happening and examine the finer details because, again, this kind of move doesn't make a lot of sense. It seems like whenever we have any news out of China, it's always like something bad supposedly happening. And basically, whenever there are new news, the stock pretty much wants to keep going higher. Things happen and it's getting down again. Now, of course, at some point, this will stop happening that often. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing more movements to the upside. But again, when we're having this kind of an environment, it almost looks like it wants to artificially stay down for a little while. Now, let's take a look at what happened. A couple of news pieces here that are relatively, practically speaking, irrelevant to what the company is doing, and for the most part, they would go unnoticed in a normal situation. But right now, anything that happens, that concerns China or Alibaba or Tencent, these kinds of companies, gets noticed immediately, and the stock actually reacts, and the market reacts pretty much at the same time. Now, Alibaba execs summoned by Shanghai authorities over data theft probe is what we're seeing here from Reuters. And you will see that some executives from Alibaba Cloud Division have been summoned by Shanghai authorities in connection with a theft of police data on Chinese citizens, the Wall Street Journal reported on Thursday. Why? What is this, and what exactly happened here? Based on scans of the police database, cybersecurity researchers concluded that the stolen data of nearly 1 billion Chinese citizens was hosted on Alibaba's cloud platform, according to the report. Now, we can find some other reports here, and I have actually done the work already. You will see here that exclusive Alibaba cuts a third of deal's team staff after regulatory crackdown sources. This is the other thing that has happened. We will go back to the issue about the probe later. This is another crackdown on Alibaba for a potential data breach. We will look at some of the finer details on this one as well. But also take a look at this. Exclusive Alibaba cuts a third of deal's team staff. As you'll see here, Alibaba Group is cutting over a third of staff in its in-house deals team, is what we're seeing here. And Alibaba plans to reduce its strategic investment team of more than 110 people, mainly based in mainland China, to about 70, is what we're seeing in this report. And they have basically planned to cut some jobs pretty much because they have been completely annihilated by the Chinese government, by COVID-19 and the stifled growth. By the supply chain, everything pretty much that has been going wrong recently in the world. Obviously, their sales of Alibaba, Tencent, and all other Chinese companies have been affected as well. That makes a ton of sense, and it would happen at this current environment. Now, there have been some fines on Alibaba and Tencent, as we saw, the latest fines, which were very, very small fines, like $70,000 or so, yet the stock went down like 10%, and we talked about it in a video. This was about anti-monopoly rules again, and the crackdown continues, it looks like, as we're seeing today as well. Now, what is going on with what we talked about earlier? What about the vast cache of Chinese police files offered for sale in alleged hack? Now, you will see if you take a look at this article, this was posted actually back in July 4. And if you take a look at this one, actually, this is not the correct one, sorry. This is the one. This is the one that's actually posted 10 days later today, basically July 14, and this is updated on Reuters 2 hours ago. is definitely actually prompted the stock to go down even more. Yet this is a little bit of old news, pretty much. Again, if we take a look at this report, you will see that this was a known thing. A vast trove of data on Chinese citizens allegedly siphoned from a police database, some of which checks out as legitimate, is being offered for sale by an anonymous hacker or hacking group. If confirmed, it would mark one of history's largest leaks of personal data, is what we're seeing here. There was basically a database leak. As you'll see, it included 750,000 records, contained individual personal names, national ID numbers, phone numbers, and things of that sort, other personally identifiable information, as you'll see here. And it has leaked, and as you'll see here, we get some more information about Alibaba. On the forum where the database has been posted for sale, the hacker or group has claimed that the data was taken from Aliyun, a cloud computing subsidiary of Alibaba Group, which they say hosts the Shanghai police database. So it looks like there was a leak from one one cloud computing subsidiary from Alibaba here. And this is why we're seeing another down day and another crackdown on Alibaba. Of course, again, data leaks could happen for sure, and it's understandable that they want to examine the finer details. But this is old news. It's not a new thing that's happening today, really. It's again brought up to the surface, and it has a deep effect on Alibaba. So I wanted to talk about all this so that we get a sense of what is going on. The stock has been going down about 20% in the last week, and nothing substantial has been happening. Definitely nothing in terms of the fundamentals of Alibaba. Nothing has changed. It's only about these kinds of crackdowns which on the long run they play no role in what is going to happen with Alibaba. So as an investor myself, with having a lot of money on Alibaba as well, it doesn't faze me at all. I basically, I guess my skin has been hardened through the years. I don't even take a look at my portfolio. I hardly take a look at my portfolio, because I know that these kinds of market movements happen every day, and it could happen for various reasons. And for the most cases, it could be political reasons, it could be sentiment reasons. It's irrelevant really to me. I want to see what's going to happen in the long run, but you kind of see in the latest few days, if you read through the lines, that this almost looks like sort of like a deliberate attempt to kind of keep the stock going down a little bit, kind of keep it down. Maybe accumulate a little bit more is the best thing to do right now. I guess, of course, it's it's on your own will what you're doing with any stock. But what I'm seeing here is it does look like Alibaba kind of wants to keep going higher, and yet these kind of news pieces that are not really relevant in terms of the business fundamentals do play a role in it going down. Now, the Shanghai index has retreated in the past few days as investors continue worrying about the Chinese property market is another thing. The index is trading at 3.2 million yuan, which is, that's billion basically, which is slightly below last week's high of 3.4. The index, however, remains about 15% above the lowest level this year, so overall it has been growing and has been outperforming American indices, is the interesting thing to notice here. Very, very interesting. The Chinese stock market, even though it seems to be held down, it's still performing better than the US these days. And the Shanghai index has done well in the past few months despite the recent lockdowns. This is another very big issue with China going off and on in terms of lockdowns, completely annihilating their market over there and basically their economy. And data published this week showed that China's exports and imports remained at an elevated level in June, another nice thing to see here. Internally, however, the economy is showing some signs of strain. This is an interesting thing to point out. The number of Chinese refusing to pay mortgages for their unfinished projects has risen sharply in the past few days. Data shows that home buyers have stopped paying mortgages on at least 100 projects, and that these delayed housing projects make about 1% of the country's mortgage balance, about $58 billion here. Interesting to see. Now, the Shanghai index forecast you will see here has been rising recently and has been at its highest points since March 7th of this year. Now it has pulled back, of course, as you'll see, to the Fibonacci retracement level. This is technicals for the most part. But overall, I think this, for the most part, indicates that we are at a bullish stage. And of course, there are going to be some downward, waypoints in between this bullish path. But for the most part, it looks like we are definitely going to the upside in the past few weeks or so. So that's what I wanted to talk about in regards to Alibaba, the Chinese market, and what is happening right now, why we're looking at this kind of price action, what is going on with Alibaba and China. And hopefully this video kind of gave you some information. Of course, you can you can make your own deductions about what is happening and do your own thing. But that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you're not a subscriber already, and I'll see you in the very next video, guys. Bye bye.